Sometimes, even for those who carry firearms, the firearm isn't the right tool. Hi everyone, it's John with today's active self-protection lesson out of Willoughby, Ohio. Shows us an armed robbery that we're going to see an armed victim who is forced to comply with the armed robbers. That will teach us some important lessons here about compliance being a potential option, about the dangers and the difficulties of pocket carry, and about staying in the fight mentally so that you don't do things that can get you hurt. The guy under the counter on the left-hand side here is working on, I think the computer systems here and doing some installs. And we're gonna see from the doors in the upper right, a couple of armed robbers walk in, and you can see the guy with something over his face, with the white over his face. The other guy's got a hood pulled around him. And I wanna come back here and look from a different angle. And you can see here that the guy with the white mask doesn't have anything in his hands. And the guy with the hoodie pulled tight without the white, mask on actually has a gun in his hand. And you're gonna see him come over and just, look at that guy and poke him with his gun before our good guy actually holds his hands up here. Our victim's like, whoa, man, I don't want any problems. So he is just going to comply. He's going to have his hands up. He's got that palms out, fingers splayed compliance posture, which tells him that he is not a danger. Now, we can't see what goes on back behind in the kitchen there that they're setting up, but these guys are going to grab the register and run out. And what we just find out now is this guy actually has a gun in his pocket, pulls it out in that moment, but the threat is over. And so he doesn't use that gun and he puts it back away. And this one is over just that fast. Now, let's go learn some lessons out of this one. As always, there are 8 lessons on our website. Links to more information are always curated there, so click the link in the description if you want that stuff. First of all, I don't suspect that, and I don't expect that everybody have crazy situational awareness all the time, but you see right here, that guy went by and he kind of pulled his head out because he heard him to see what was going on. Now, if you see something going on and it's out of place, that's when you go from condition yellow to condition orange and investigate, see what's going on. But what we see here is that he doesn't. He just goes back to work. He ignores the threat that comes by him because he doesn't recognize it. Secondly, what I want to see here is you have a gunman and a grab man in this particular instance. The guy on the left there, the guy with the white mask, is our grab man. He doesn't have a gun on him that I can see. And the other guy that's come off to the right here and is a little bit more skeptical of coming in the building is our gunman. And that's very common in multiple attacker engagements. You see that gunman, grab man common. And when you see that, the gunman is the first threat and the biggest one that you have to deal with. Now, because he didn't see earlier what was going on, the guy bonks him in the head with the gun, but then pulls it away from him. And so it's out of his contact range. And so our defender here just puts his hands in the air in that compliance posture. That tells the attackers, hey, I'm not a threat to you and can buy you some time. It is the universal sign of surrender. And so, not that compliance will always buy your safety, but in this instance, the guy wasn't paying attention to him. He was using the gun as an intimidation tool. Now, before you think, hey, wait a minute, this guy wasn't paying any attention, he could have drawn on him there, you notice that the bad guy's looking back at our at a guy under the counter, our defender here, in that moment. And we don't know how often he did, but you notice that our defender here is not looking back and seeing what's going on. He might have had an opportunity had he chosen to use it in that moment in order to defend himself, but he didn't, and it worked okay. Now, I want to see that his draw here took 3 seconds. It took about 3.2 seconds from the time those guys ran off and he decided to draw his gun for him to get into his pocket holster, get the gun out and get it on target. That's really interminably slow. One of the reasons I don't recommend pocket holsters if you don't have them. And also, it wasn't the right time at this point. There wasn't a continuing threat. The threat was already over, not an opportunity. It's not a bad thing to draw the gun if you can at that point to make sure they didn't come back, but it wasn't helpful in that moment. So sometimes compliance is the answer, and at least complying until you get your opportunity can be a viable solution. This guy complied, but then when his opportunity came, the threat was already over. So put the gun back away, recognize that you got lucky that you weren't hurt, and next time, make sure that you're aware so that you can cover your asp.